I want to call the December 16th, 2021 meeting of the Farragut Municipal Planning Commission to order. Before we get into the agenda, I want to tell everybody, be sure if you haven't already, go by the park on Campbell Station at the library, Founders Park, and check out the lights. It's really spectacular. They've outdone themselves this year. And the weather's great for walking around down there. A lot better than when I was there Thanksgiving, so enjoy it while we can. They spend a lot of time in the off-season working on that, and it sure shows up every year. And we have a great turnout for it too, so be sure and go by and see that. Approval of the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Approval of the minutes for the November 18th, 2021 meeting. Do we have any updates or changes on that?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item number 3, discussion on a zoning map amendment to rezone Parcel 6, tax map 151, 421 North Watt Road from general commercial C-1 to neighborhood convenience commercial, NCC, 9.22 acres, Robert Campbell and Associates applicant. This is for discussion purposes only tonight.
Okay. And this is a small rezoning request. It's approximately 9 acres. It's located on North Watt Road. It's on the west side of Watt Road. It's the second lot from the city limits as you're going up the hill. It's currently a vacant lot. The purpose of the rezoning is to support a mixed-use development with some commercial on the front and some attached townhome type development. The land use plan was reevaluated for the Watt Road corridor several years ago. And this area was actually changed to support mixed-use neighborhood in terms of the future land use plan category. So the proposed rezoning would be consistent with the land use plan. You can see here it's that purple area, and the lot in question is bounded in the dark black line there. The portion of the lot that's immediately to the north of this property that is within the corporate limits, that lot's a split lot. A portion of it is outside the city, was recently rezoned to the NCC designation as well. And then the larger tract to the south is planned for multifamily right now, or well, I should say mixed, a medium density residential, not multifamily, but medium density residential. So this is the property here in the context of the proposed future land use map. And this next slide is in the context of the existing zoning. So currently the property is zoned C1, that's our general commercial district. It allows for a wide range of commercial development. The NCC, the neighborhood convenience commercial district, allows for a less diverse mix of commercial development and also at a smaller scale. It was designed to sort of facilitate the development of sort of neighborhood scale commercial uses and commercial uses that would serve the immediate area. So it has limitations on the uses that are permitted and also the size of the buildings that would be allowed in there. It does allow for some medium density residential development that would go along with a commercial development, but the residential component can only be done as part of a transition in a more mixed-use setting. So there has to be the commercial development in order to do the residential development on the site. So it's the proposed or the request is consistent with the land use plan. It's consistent with the NCC zone that's immediately to the north, or the portion of the property that's immediately to the north. It would actually be, I don't want to, it would be a less intense commercial zone than what the property is currently zoned. So also the surrounding areas currently mostly rural and low-density residential, but it is planned for more development, and there's obviously some residential subdivisions across the road. There's a small residential subdivision that's in Loudoun County on the other side of Harrison Lane. This property lies in between Watt Road and then Harrison Lane over in Loudoun County. It actually extends a little bit into Loudoun County on the western edge. This is a rough concept plan of what they propose. It's just a concept to give you an idea of what they're thinking about doing on the property. So the commercial is up there along Watt Road on the southern portion of the property. It's where it widens out, and then the rest of the development would be townhome type development.
Bart, can I just make a few things clear before we get into the discussion? First off, it was brought to my attention today that a sign had not been posted out there designating that there was a rezoning request. So when I got that, I responded back to the citizen and I copied you on it so that you'll go out tomorrow and post that sign.
Yeah, it'll be posted. That was an oversight on our part.
You guys are overwhelmed, and I know there's a lot going on, so I can certainly see how that might have been overlooked, but getting that posted would be very helpful for the residents. I did want to expand a little bit on, you stated that we had amended the land use plan in this area. Just to expand on that, we had a steering committee, a comprehensive land use plan steering committee was formulated in 2017 to take another look at certain corridors of the land use plan, and the Watt Road corridor was the first one that we studied, where we brought the community in, the public in, and had a really good, that one was a really good meeting. Very well attended. John, you were there for that one. It was not just about the land use, but also they talked a lot about the pedestrian connections that they would like to see in there. So it was very active, everybody drawing on maps, and they most assuredly and decidedly stated they wanted this corridor to be a mix of uses that they could walk to. They wanted walkable shopping, small restaurants. They didn't want like big box commercial, national stuff. They wanted to see something that was walkable and a mix of uses. Just so it's clear that that's why that was changed was due to direct feedback from the public that came in, and we ended up changing that at the end of 2018, I believe, is when we amended that land use map for that corridor.
Sounds about right.
So I just wanted to give a little bit of background about where this all came from.
Does anybody else on the planning commission have any questions of Bart?
Yeah, I've got one or two. That's near the crest of that hill coming up from the interstate, and also where it goes down to one lane. There's that right-hand lane, I think, disappears and merges in there. I think when we get down, I saw the concept plan, but I think looking ahead, if they do this rezoning, we need to make sure we understand site distances and whatever improvements need to be made to the roadway through there, or it's going to be a real problem, I think.
Yeah, we are somewhat concerned about the location where the drive comes out, and also the cut-through traffic element that's that's potential there. The applicant turned in the concept plan so that you'd have an idea of what they're proposing. This is just the rezoning phase. The plan's not really under consideration, and any development plan that goes on the site will be fully evaluated as we would any other site development plan. So
I just want to get that on the table for future discussion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And can I add just a little bit more to that? Last Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, I proposed some amendments to some of our commercial districts, and this is one of them that will be coming to the Planning Commission to work through for recommendation back to the Board of Mayor and Alderman, although it was unanimous. And one of the things that I proposed is that we require a concept plan as part of the application for neighborhood convenience commercial, because it is a mixed-use project. It can be a little bit more complicated, and we have mixed-use designated backing up to Sedgefield, and they certainly should understand what that concept looks like before we approve any rezoning for them. So that's going to be coming to you guys in the next month or so.
And I'd like to speak on Ed's comment there. Typically, whenever we have a situation where you have unimproved road, then we do have a cost share program where the road is improved in an area to help matters. And I think this will be probably one that will be considered whenever it does come in front of us to be looked at as with a site plan. I mean, right now, you're right, it's just a rezoning consideration and a discussion of that. But at some point, that will be under consideration for just like any other development that we've had in our town for many of the past years. So just so everybody's clear.
Anybody else have any questions? Is the applicant here? Would you please come up? If you'll tell us who you are and give us an address, please.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Robert Campbell, 7523 Taggart Lane. I've heard all your comments and I've been making notes. One thing I will point out, and I agree with the cut-through traffic comment, and that's one of the reasons we kind of on this concept plan are looking at these rain gardens to kind of minimize that. I mean, anytime people have to kind of do this instead of straight shot, that really does take care of that. And we'll check our sight distance as well, good comment, to make sure that that we do have that. I think we're right at kind of where that merge is from 2 to 1. And so we'll get some traffic people involved in that to kind of make sure of what we're doing. We've got a little bit of flexibility on where that entrance is, but you know, that's a detail that we'll have to work through. I do believe the zoning is a really good one, because obviously we could have the whole thing commercial right now and create some other issues. But this is a really good thing to have that commercial in the front, transitioning to some residential, which ties into what you have kind of behind it. So we think we've got a proper zoning, and I know we've got, hey, there's nothing easy anymore, right? That's why it's called work. So it's not called the easy, it's called the work. So we'll get to that and try to figure out, you know, overcome these obstacles, and we're hopefully have a good project for y'all.
Anybody?
Mr. Campbell, I just one comment. I know that we're not talking concept plan because this is a rezoning and that's not required at this point. But I know you were talking in staff developer, you were thinking about taking that access road out. I would ask, if you guys are starting to play with that and redesign that you would at least provide some pedestrian connection in that area possibly for what could possibly be going up north of you.
Okay, and we can look at that. And again, it's one of the things that as we look at that, obviously we do have the walking areas in the development itself, and one in the front. And again, we can discuss this some more, but that connection to the side, as we discussed in the meeting, you don't have that much distance between the front and the back. And is that something that really kind of adds another level? Because at some point you all have to maintain all that, right? And then
Well, and that's why I
yeah.
think it would be sufficient, because the property north of you is also neighborhood convenience, which is probably have residential in the back.
Right.
So to someone walking, that is a big distance. To
Right.
somebody driving, no. But so if there's connection somewhere in there, you know, there's separation between your buildings. There's a place to fit that in, and that would be a nice asset certainly for your businesses there. Someone can walk over. You got a restaurant over there. They don't have to go out to the main road to get through.
Understand. Yeah, well, we'll look at it as we kind of vet this and get
Okay.
this plan in place a little bit more.
Anybody else have any more questions? Okay, yeah. Bart, is there anyone in the audience that has turned in a card for you?
No. I don't know whether anyone wants to speak, but we haven't had any blue cards turned in.
Does anyone in the audience have a question or comment?
I'll speak for just a minute. I'm a direct neighbor.
Go ahead and go to the,
If you will, give us your name and address.
My name is Mark Wagers. My address is 400 North Watt Road. So I'm a neighbor I'm on 5 acres, and I'm about 100 yards south of this location, on the other side of the street.
What was your name again?
Mark Wagers. So I'm the long skinny one next to the A there, just a long skinny, and there's like 2 little, so that's my property, 5 acres. So I've been there about 12 years. I personally don't have any trouble with this process, this development. I'm glad to see something go in. Of course, I'm glad we're not talking about apartments tonight. So that's the one that really makes me nervous, and next to me makes me really nervous. That's a huge piece of land. A lot of apartments could go in there. I have a
It's not designated for that?
I understand. I'm just saying it out loud that, so I'm here to tell you that as a pretty much a direct neighbor, I don't have any problem with the development. I was interested in the commercial up front. I wasn't sure why we weren't just putting more townhouses in there. But it does seem like there maybe would be something that we could even walk to, or our neighborhood.
What was your street address again?
My address is 400 North Watt Road.
Okay.
I'm directly impacted by all the traffic on Watt Road, and we all know it's a lot. So I'm interested in coming to some of the meetings talking about lights or big circle turnarounds. We have a lot of heavy trucks trying to turn around right in my driveway. My mailbox has been knocked down, so there's issues that I'd like to talk about in other meetings, but I don't see this particular project or zoning. It's not going to add to the problems on Watt Road. That's a pipeline, man. So that's all I had to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for your edification or education, that whole property on our land use map is designated open space cluster residential. So it's only envisioned
The
to be.
big farm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only envisioned to be single-family, low-density.
Yeah, and that's what I would
residential.
look forward to. If somebody was pitching that, that'd be great. We are seeing lots of postage stamp developments going in. I mean, that might be another one, but anything other than a huge industrial park, I don't think would fit in there.
And we don't allow that.
Yeah, and
in
so I
town.
think that what we're seeing here tonight, I think that that's appropriate for Watt Road, I really do.
Yeah.
I've got a house there and a garage going up now, and I have 2 lots, so I'm gonna build another big house there, nice house. So I am a little bit of a buffer to this possible development later down the road.
Well, and to me, I look at this, and I know this is what residents from Sedgefield and Orchid Grove had requested. They wanted something walkable in the area, something they could
Sure.
walk to. So
Yep.
the trick for us is, we have our crosswalk down south to get into the park.
Yeah.
If this comes into play, where do we put a crosswalk?
So that's
north
a
of it?
great question. My driveway is directly across from Harrison, so every morning we fight the cross. We've learned in just the last year to use that middle lane. I've never in 14 years used that middle lane. I've just crossed and went whatever direction I wanted to, but there's so much traffic, you now have to learn to merge. The sidewalk stops in front of before my property. The old sidewalk for, is it Sedgefield? Yeah, lane, yeah.
Orchid.
Yeah.
So it would come across me possibly, and then eventually, I don't know, are we gonna connect the sidewalk to this development? Because I think that would probably be
Well,
great.
and they have a trail that's intended in
Okay.
front of there, so yes,
Okay.
that would be
So
what
somehow
we're
we gotta
looking to
get
do.
down there. Yeah, I see what you're
Yeah.
talking about, like
Yeah.
where do we cross again?
Because no one's going to walk all the way down to
No,
that
gotta cross and
crosswalk
back
to
up.
get back up. So
Right.
it's about, and and that adds an extra, and
I mean-
I know I give our engineer a lot of grief every time I talk about a mid-block crosswalk, but it's my favorite go-to when we're talking about trying to slow down traffic,
Yeah.
and we
We
need
do
to
have a
make those-
speed problem. It's going, after you crest the top, you're headed downhill, and there's nothing to slow you down from 70 until you get to the new crosswalk, which I think is working great. I see people on it, we walk it. So I think
Well, I'm
that's.
glad to know that.
I think it's working great. And I know that sidewalk could continue across my property. I look forward to that because I'd like to finish getting my landscaping in. And I know that city's gonna
If it's
destroy.
coming, you may as well, yeah.
So I'm for all of that. But yeah, I'd like to be part of trying to figure out how to, we're turning semis around on Harrison Lane. We've had them in the fields and wreckers. I don't know if you remember last year, we had wreckers. I see one, how many do you think, 4 to 6 a week? Definitely. They're young drivers. It's just, it's the nature of it. They're very young drivers. They get mixed up down below. They come up the hill and then they panic, and some of them try to turn around in our yard or across the street, or they come all the way down and go down Kingston Pike, some of them. So it's frustrating. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's a big circle where they can just
We're working on
turn.
things.
Yeah, so I look forward to talking to some of you about that in the future. Anything else for me?
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks for.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? So like I said, this is for discussion only, is that right, Bart?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so,
Be on our next agenda.
yeah, it will be on the agenda probably the next time, is that the
It's up-
plan?
Be on for action for the next month.
Be up to them what they bring to us.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, when they bring it to us.
Yeah.
And just so you all know, that's for rezonings, the Planning Commission is just a recommending body. The decision is made at the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and that goes through 2 readings. So, and all of them have the option for public hearing, or public coming in and giving their comments and just expressing their concerns. So it's not a done deal after it's been voted on here, it goes up to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
And you can find that schedule online as to whether or not we'll be on next month and then after that, where it goes and the timing of all of that. So you could, yeah, and in the newspaper, but it's also on the town website and in the paper. So Michelle will have that in the paper. So if there's nobody else has any questions or comments? Is that it for tonight?
Of utilities.
Oh, yeah. Approval of utilities, we don't have any, is that correct?
No, ma'am, we don't.
And citizens forum, does anybody have any questions or comments that have nothing to do with the item that was on the agenda tonight? So in that case, I'll call this meeting adjourned.
Wow, I think we set a record.
I think so.
We missed it by 4 minutes.